Okay, what you gonna tell me about today?
Oh, I'll just tell you some more stories, true stories that happened. So, well, we traveled. We went Tennessee, Alabama, West Virginia, um, Kentucky, Illinois, and we lived here and there, always in uh, cheap little places. Of course, that's all you could find anyway. But we laughed. We always laughed and had a good time. And finally, though, my stepdad was making pretty good money. And my sister and I, we bought all of our own shoes and clothes from babysitting money. So ended up buying a nice mobile home, brand new.
Nice.
Yeah, it was big and red and white. And then he also bought a truck to match it, red and white. So we thought we was in high heaven. So things were a little different back then. My mother had gotten so much food at this one place. They owed them quite a bit of money. In fact, we never went down there or let them see us. We were too ashamed. And but when we got that big old mobile home and pickup truck, Mama said, I want to drive through town. I want everybody to see us. And so sure enough, they drove through town and saw Bill and Little Bill Jackson. They had hit the big time. Well, there was a little piece of land over in front of his mother's house. It was a little gravel road. And so we decided to park it there. So we did. But we didn't have any water. And we didn't have any electricity. It was kind of sad to have all that beauty and you couldn't use it right. So my job was to take the slop jar across the road and dump it in my step-grandma's little bitty bathroom and then go outside and clean it, bring it back. I was so embarrassed. And one time I had a date, just for sodas and dancing. I was 13, and the boy was going to walk me home. So I stopped at a real pretty house and told him I lived there. And I went up on the porch and lingered, and he finally left, and then I went on to where I did live.
Did he ever find out any different?
I don't think so. But anyway, I was embarrassed. And then my mother was so jealous of my stepdad. She was heavy, real heavy, like 269, 5'2", pretty woman, beautiful, and he loved her. But she just couldn't accept. She said, I know you want a little woman that you can twirl around on your dinky, stuff like that. And he said, no, Lula, no. And but she always felt if he was late coming home and all that. And then my sister, we had to share a pull-out couch. And it wasn't a nice one either. It was, cheap. And I didn't like sleeping with her, and I'd draw a line. Don't you come over that line. And if she did, I'd claw her with my nails and hit her. I never did really like her. And later years, we liked each other a little bit. But anyway, Mom, she'd find out about this. She'd cut my fingernails to the bone, and they'd bleed. And so I just got tired of it. And I told myself, I said, why don't you get married?
And how old were you?
Huh?
How old were you?
13. Just turned 13. Well, I didn't know my sister had the same idea. She was 14 months older than me. And she said, I'm going to get married and get out of this place. And I said, me too. Well, she got married a month before I did. And she married a man that lived, I don't know, somewhere in Dawson. And they had a little boy. He was just the cutest little thing, little Freddie. And she was doing okay for a long time. So one day I was downtown and I saw this sailor, and he was just the cutest thing, and little fat cheeks and dark hair and dark eyes. Well, he noticed me too. So we got to talking. We went into the sock hop thing, and he said, how would you like to share a egg sandwich with me and a tomato juice? I said, okay. So we shared that. And then it got so we did it all the time, shared that same meal. Found out his dad lived across the street in an apartment building, a very nice man. I always wore a suit and a hat. He worked at the hospital, the VA hospital. And I really liked him, and he liked me. And so and I would sneak out. And Mom would have beat me to death if she had found it, but some way or other I made it. I'd sneak out, and it wasn't sex or anything like that. It was just kissing and hugging. And we did that for 2 or 3 months. So we decided we'd get married. And he had a friend, JD and Chloe. And they were pretty close to us. They had a car, too. So we told them our plan, and they decided that they'd pick us up and take us where we wanted to go. So Mom had just bought me a Easter dress. It was a light blue chambray, and the woman had embroidery flowers. It had a pretty white blouse with it, and then I had a little purse, a little hat, and white shoes. So I kept that handy in a bag so I could take it with me. And we decided that we'd tell everybody we were going to the movies, and then we'd go in the opposite direction, which we did. Well, we wandered around. We didn't think we'd have such a hard time getting married, but we did. And said, Lord, if we don't get married, my stepdad may kill, I don't know, something terrible would happen. So finally, we saw Justice of the Peace in Elkton, Maryland. Was it Elkton, Maryland?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The little wedding chapel, wasn't it?
Now, that's where Bob and I got married.
Oh, okay.
Now, this was just a house, and it had a sign about marriage out there. So we stopped. It was 2 o'clock in the morning.
So this was in Kentucky?
This was in Illinois.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we opened the door, and he said, we want to get married. And he looked at me and said, are you 21? I said, yes, sir. And I was really a baby-faced little thing. So they married us. His wife got out of bed and stood witness. So we got married, and then I called my mother the next morning and told her we were married. Well, she changed her whole attitude. She started kind of helping us figure out where we were going to live. So we moved in with his sister. She had a big old farmhouse, not much to look at, but it was big. And we stayed in the attic. We went to a secondhand store, bought us all kinds of stuff, and, because he still had his busted out pay, so we had a little money to do that. I didn't like the bed we got because I wanted a Hollywood bed, so I took a old saw and sawed off all the legs, and it fell, and I had to tie it with a rope. But we used that bed. Had a hot plate, and I didn't know much about cooking, but I cooked enough to get us okay. So anyway, we ended up moving in a little one room with 2 windows and a door, building out back. Moved in there, and I was pregnant by then. So we got married in June, and the next June I had Lynn. She was the light of my life, and he was working in a sawmill, but we still wasn't making it, and moved back into Dawson and rented a little house. It wasn't much better. Then we rented another house, and it wasn't much better. And finally, we decided we'd go to Gary, Indiana, and he would work in a factory. So we took what little money we had, and we rented a couple rooms and a bathroom. It wasn't too bad, but he wasn't finding a job or anything, and he drank a little bit. One day I was talking to my neighbor across the fence, and I said, "My husband needs a job." She said, "I know where he can get one. That's where my husband works." It was a box factory. So he got a job at the box factory, and he made enough for us to survive. But he drank more all the time, drank more. And we lived together for 15 years, and it was pretty bad. He would come in drunk and hit me, pour beer on me, and so then he started telling me that he was, if I ever left him, he would kill the kids. So I found out from his mother that he had a psychopathic inferiority complex. And I knew that if I stayed with him, something horrible would happen. So I started making plans to leave. And I'll talk to you later, some other time, okay?
Okie dokie.
How was that?
That's good.